Welcome, welcome. What's going on, everybody? How you out there doing this Sunday afternoon, January 9th? Welcome to another edition of Lead, where we talk about relationship perspectives from the TFG His and Hers page. This is part of the TFG TV network and platform of shows. I am your host, Lee Black. And if you haven't already subscribed to the TFG TV platform, do yourself a favor. You can find us on Facebook or you can find us on YouTube. And this is on Sunday segments. We actually go into the specific page called TFG's His and Hers Relationship Perspectives. These are a series of questions on a variety of subjects dealing with men, women, relationships, controversial things, taboo, you name it. And we have an open dialogue and we welcome all opinions. And so what I do on Sundays is I just pluck a couple of topics from that page and I share my thoughts and I share the thoughts of those on the page. So anybody, if you haven't already, please give us your input. We love to hear you, and you're more than welcome on Sundays to come on live and share your opinions. We welcome all opinions. There is no such thing as an unopinion. The only thing I'll say is that we can agree to disagree without being disagreeable. Anybody is welcome. And so I've actually posted already into my commentary section the live link for TFG TV. You're more than welcome to come on and discuss these topics with us. So I'm going to bring in my co-host and we'll kind of get things kicked off here. And so what's going on, Miss Tasha Mack?
What's going on, Black? How are you?
I'm doing okay today. Doing okay. Good to see you, Brother Lamar. And this is a link to the group directly. In case you don't know, feel free to log in, subscribe to the channels, and be a part of the conversation. You know, we welcome you to be a part of the conversation anytime. And as I said, this is the live link to be a part of the show directly, TFG TV. And I'm Lee Black. So, Tasha, how are you doing tonight before we get into this thing?
You know, I can't complain. Sad that the weekend has come to an end. And, you know, got to get right back to it on Monday.
always, you know. Always. With that said, we're going to try to dive into this thing. We're just going to tackle a couple of them today. But I thought this question was an interesting one. And the question was, if the sex is whack, but he or she is loyal and loves you, do you stay? If the sex is whack, but the person actually loves you and they're loyal to you, do you stay? Before I get your answer, I want to read a couple, Tasha, okay? So this one was from a gentleman. He said, no, she gonna learn today. All right. Another gentleman said, he said, the younger me would go and wouldn't care, but older me knows it's hard to find good, genuine people to love and to care about you. I ain't perfect. It's things about me she probably couldn't deal with anyway. It's hard out here. I would stay. It ain't that serious to leave. So, Tasha, what do you think before I read any other? What do you think? What would you do?
I would leave. And I'll say that because I've been in that situation where I was with someone. That wasn't the only reason why I left, but that did play a main part of it. After trying to teach someone and really trying to explain to them, you know, like what you like, and it doesn't appear, even with time, nothing has changed. It to me, all it's going to do is just, you're tempting fate, you're tempting time, you're tempting yourself with, hey, Lamar, you're tempting yourself and you're kind of playing yourself with, eventually because you're not fulfilled. And to me, that is an important part of a relationship. You're just tempting, you know, you're going to cheat. Eventually, you're just going to cheat.
Wow.
So, you know, it may be unpopular, but I left.
Hey, you know, I appreciate you sharing a real life example. Brother Lamar said hello. And Shavana, what's going on, sweetheart? Good to see you. You know, Lamar makes a good comment. He said, you're unequally yoked. So from where he stands, that is that critical that, you know, you talk about being yoked together with like-mindedness. Lamar saying, I want to share with you what some of the other women said, just so I want you to know you're not alone, McMack. Young lady, she says somebody can't follow instructions or doesn't care to try. Eventually, I gotta go. So she's agreeing with you, and that's in that one comment. She says somebody can't follow instructions or doesn't care to try. Eventually, I gotta go. Another young lady said, "Hell no." That means she ain't staying at all. She kept it simple. Another young lady says, "You should be able to make the sex better unless your spouse is uptight and not open."
Mm-hmm.
Another gentleman said, "I didn't like you." He, as a real life example, he said he did not stay. Now, me, I responded to this one as well. I, like the other gentleman, I said the younger me, no. But as I have matured and gotten older, I definitely would stay. And I'm going to tell you why I said that, why I actually said that. And what's up, brother Ken? How you doing? You know, missing you, my brother. I know you have to doing your thing. We've been missing you. When I was younger, I was 1,000 times more selfish than I am now. And it was all about me, you know, my sexual gratification. And then I viewed women more as obstacles. You know, anybody who knows me famously, I could care less what your face looks like. I did numbers. So it wasn't even about the woman at that point. It was about, for me, this sexual act. And again, it had to be pleasing for me to even stay around and put them in rotation. And so the younger me, simply out to get mine, being completely selfish, no, not even close. You know what though? As I've aged, when I looked at the question, if the person loves me and they're loyal to me, I would stay. Maybe the sex is not the greatest. In this case, it's whack. I would just have to find other ways, because as I've aged now, intimacy for me is more important than the sexual act itself. Mm-hmm. So I think now at this stage of my life, I could live with, I hate to say it this way, but we being blunt, I could live with it that, damn, she's just not good in bed, you know, for whatever the reason. Maybe she doesn't move enough, you know, whatever. I'm trying to keep it clean, you know, in all honesty. But I think that if she loved me, the intimacy part of being with her, knowing that she's loyal and that she loves me, I could stick with that, you know, if that makes any sense.
It does. And I guess that you would have to like really decide like what makes it whack is what you would be willing to deal with.
Absolutely.
For me, and if this ever finds this person, you know, this isn't something that I didn't tell you, okay? So, absolutely. But for me, it was way more than just being whack. It was the time that it went on, the time frame in which nothing improved, but also the time during a session, I'll say it like that, during a session,
right,
it was just over. It was over for him before it even began for me. So,
and I think that's what makes that hard for me to comprehend, mm-hmm. to be honest with you, because you and I have talked about this before, because like the other young lady comment, she said somebody didn't follow instructions. I guess I can't process that if you tell me what you're looking for, that I wouldn't be able to improve my performance. And mm-hmm. I know you talk about the time. Thank God, knock on wood, I've never been that brother that didn't last. You know, yeah, I've never been that. So I guess I don't know how to handle that part. Now, what I told you in that instance was maybe got to eat some pussy a little bit longer and do some other things, I guess. You know, if you know that you can't hold your load. But I can't fully comprehend not lasting, one, mm-hmm. and not following directions, because surely, this is the way my mind works, surely there is something in that act that I can do well that you can enjoy it enough to stay with me. And that's so you shaking your head like, damn.
No, it wouldn't.
You know, see, and so that I can't comprehend. Hannah says, I would leave as well. If you aren't even trying to please me the way I want to, then it means you're being selfish. Great point, sweetheart. But again, this is not somebody that's not trying, because remember, they're loyal to you and they love you. So we have to assume if they're loyal and they love you, they are at least trying. Maybe they just are not good. And Tasha's bringing up specific instances where the person just couldn't last long enough, right?
Right.
And apparently, well, that's bad enough. It can last long enough. So I guess you're not getting enough out of it.
No, that was a major thing. You're not lasting long enough. And then just what you're doing is it's just it's not doing anything for me. You're not taking the time to get me into it.
I got you. Fair point. Lamar said they're just handicapped in that particular area. You're right. That's like being in a relationship then with somebody that's handicapped. So the love would certainly have to be strong. Brother Lamar, I think I could deal with that. I just turned 54 years old. What I'm looking for now sexually is completely different than what I was looking for 20 years ago. And so for me now, I could be with a handicapped woman. I slept with a few handicapped ones even back then too. So
we're not going down that rabbit hole. We're not doing that.
So what can I tell you? All right, let's switch to another one because that was an interesting one. Now this one I had to shorten it because I shortened it to how much does appearance matter. So I'm gonna do my very best to share my screen on this one because I think it's important for the audience to get the visual of this one to understand the concept of the question. So I'm going to try to share my screen. Let me see if I can pull it up, and I want to get the visual. Oh God, I hope I can make this happen. Okay.
Okay.
So bear with me, audience, because if I can't, then I'll have to explain. I have to describe it. But I'm gonna try to share my screen, and I want you to be, Tasha. I rely on you to tell me if you can see it, because I think it's important that you guys get the visual. Okay. Before I ask this question, so share screen. I'll share my audio as well. And I hope I'm doing this right. Now I'm going to go to TFG. Can you see that picture?
Yes.
You can see that?
Yes.
Okay. So did it blow up really big?
Yes, it did.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, here's the question, audience. If a man stops dating her after he sees her face without makeup, is he wrong? And I want you to look at that picture on the left of this young lady. We're assuming it's a lady putting on the makeup, and look at the person on the right. Now, nobody, I don't think, would deny that is one hell of a transformation. Agreed?
Agreed.
So I'm going to read a few comments here. And clearly these are from guys. And like this guy says, hey, it is what it is. I mean, you got to wake up to that every day. Run. Another gentleman said, to be honest, she is two completely different skin tones. That's just the start of the lie. Another person says, he will not be. She is wrong for wearing so much makeup that it alters her real features. This brother says, absolutely not. She looks like Jamarcus Russell without makeup. Another person said, that's two different people. Another guy says, no, he's not. If a man can't roll over to his woman's fresh face, no makeup, no weave, etc., then he will always have wiggle room in his heart to want another woman. When she puts on the makeup, it should be a bonus of her natural beauty, not be what makes her beautiful. And that's my opinion. And those are just for men. I'm going to share some from women as well, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen. But I wanted you to see the visual. So Tasha, I'm going to ask you as a woman, looking at that photo, if a man stops dating this woman after he sees her face without makeup, is he wrong?
No, I don't think he's wrong. We can act like and we can pretend like that it doesn't matter, but we all know men are visual creatures. So, and most men are only going to see you in your natural state. Let's be honest, you're not going to be walking around like that in your house all the time, full face makeup. So if they don't like what they see when they are pulling the mask back, and that's being real, when they're pulling it back, then no, it's not wrong. You have to be physically, you have to be physically attracted to who you're with.
Okay, I love it. I absolutely love it. Let me share what some women had to say on this subject because you said no. This young lady says she should have let him know right away. Look, here's a pic of me without makeup. I don't want you to be surprised later on. Another young lady says no, he wouldn't be wrong. Another lady flat out says no. We got another young lady say a man should love you regardless of whether you have makeup on your face or not. There was one particular comment I wanted to get to. This young lady says, this person says, I mean, obviously he has to know she doesn't look like that 24/7, but if he doesn't, for whatever slow reason he might suffer from, he would be wrong to leave if she isn't what he thought she'd look like. But I mean, if someone got to use all that makeup to get cute, honey, that's a telltale sign. But a lot of folks these days like to do that FaceTime stuff. So I don't see how she was able to fool him for however long she did. And those are good points, this generation. Mm-hmm. And I could keep going, this person said, but she really not ugly. She just really need a good skin bleacher or toner, good moisture. She'll be all right. Another person says maybe she has a skin condition. We could go on and on and on. I can't find a particular comment I was looking for, but there was a young lady who mentioned, and she went in kind of hard on men. She talked about how this was an immaturity on men, and she said she's sick of cishet men, CISCHET, and I had to look that up. She mentioned that that this immaturity of men, and that the woman you be yourself, and men are immature if they can't handle that. And she talked about cishet men. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. CISCHET. And I bring that up for a reason because it was a valid point. This cishet is short for cisgender heterosexual. And it refers to people who are both cisgender and heterosexual. And the point here is that people who identify as the gender that they were assigned at birth and is attracted exclusively to the other opposite gender, if that makes any sense. I hope I didn't lose anybody. So what the lady was referring to, as I inferred from her comment, is that for guys who wouldn't want to date this woman, we fall into this category of cishet men, meaning that I identify as the gender that I'm born into, and that's the only identification I am. That because I have a dick, I believe I'm a man. And because I believe I'm a man, I'm only attracted to a woman who's been born a woman with a natural born snatch. And that's wrong because I am not evolved and elevated and immature.
What does that have to do with identifying ugly? If it's ugly, it's just ugly.
A lot of people actually said that very same thing. Lamb said, what's love got to do with it?
Exactly.
So my answer to address that question is pretty simple, though, in the sense that, and Dave Chappelle is in trouble for this very thing right now, because at the end of his show, The Closer, he talked about gender was a fact. And in our new society, that is frowned upon. The new evolution of thought is that gender is not a fact, that whatever body and gender you were born into does not that's not the be all to end all. Look, I may piss a lot of people off. I'm a cisgender male, then, if that's what you want to call me. I believe whatever vessel you were born into, you are that vessel. You're always going to be that vessel for me. Now, that doesn't infringe upon your right to call yourself a teapot if you want to, but when you're born a woman, you're a woman. I just so happen to, that's what I'm attracted to, and those physical parts, so to speak. So for me as a man, yes, but as you said, what does that even have to do with ugly? So going beyond that part of it, I would not stay. And I like the comment that somebody mentioned where makeup should enhance what you have, not define who you are. Now, all of my serious relationship, wife, serious girlfriends, they were not heavy makeup users for that very reason. is because I did not want to be dating somebody's representative. You know, if every time I go to pick this person up or we get together, you know, hair is not a hair out of place, eyebrows immaculate, makeup flawless, the big spider eyelashes, you know, lipstick, you know, every little time you eat, you got to go for. That's not what I want. I actually am more attracted to a natural looking woman. A little bit of makeup is okay. And so I would never fall into that category anyway, because I would have to know what you look like, you know, and I think that's only fair, you know, that I know that this is what I'm dating, you know, because let's put the shoe on the other foot. Now, if going out with me and I stuffed a sock in my pants so that when we went out, you saw a big fat knot and you think this dude is holding, you know what I'm saying? Oh my God, Tasha, how many times do you talk about men walking around in gray sweatpants?
Yes.
You know, so clearly that's a real thing that women look at the imprint, you know. So if I put a sock behind my dick and it puffed it out a little bit more to maybe look like I'm truly packing, and we're dating because you think you're going to get slayed and beat down correct with a nice size pole, then all of a sudden it's showtime and I come dropping my musty drawers and all of a sudden I ain't got what you thought I had. You know what I'm saying? Yes, my drawers are musty too. You know, what's going on real time? How you doing? You know, so is that not the same thing though, Tasha?
It is. You know, it's some people would say that yes, that's a catfish as well. So you know, it's a fine line, you know. But of course, you'll have the arguments that well, men that's the type of that's the type of women that men go after are the ones who have all this. But then they say this differently, where you know, and a lot of times, okay, well, we'll give you that argument. Okay, maybe that may be what he likes and what he goes after. But again, with these women, that's not how they're looking at home when they're just with him. They're not beating their faces like that at home, putting on makeup like that all the time. Evidently, when he does get to see that woman, he does like her in her natural state. Or, you know, she may be sneaky. Like there are some people who never show what they look like to their, you know, to their significant other, where they never show their natural hair. They never show what they look like without makeup on. They always have some effect of it on. So
Absolutely. And so to close out this topic, I thought the question was valid, and I thought it's actually deeper than it really is on the surface, because I think far too many people are out here dating the representative. You know, it's one thing to put your best foot forward. We all do that, you know. And obviously, if I'm going out to meet somebody or they're coming and see me, of course I'm going to make sure my apartment is clean. You know, I mean, I'm going to make sure that my teeth are brushed and I smell good. You know, I don't have any hair, but you know, I'm going to make sure I'm lined up enough. You know, you're gonna put your best foot forward if you like the person. You know, but at some point, this is why it's critical to take the time to get to know the real person, physical, mental, emotional, their situation, because I'm going beyond just the cosmetic look of the face, see their situation too, you know, because if that person drives up and they got the 2021 Range Rover, you know what I'm saying, and they drip down in the right drip, and that's what you're dating, and now all of a sudden you find out after you get with them that this person is in a tremendous amount of debt. You know, the car is the one valuable thing that they have. They barely making notes on that. They living with two friends. They barely have anything in the refrigerator. The mattress is on the floor. They got a blanket up to the window for curtains. You know, I mean, this is, you know, get to know the real person, even beyond the facial thing, you know, because that's the easy part to me, that we do live in a society now where it is easy to cover up what we look like. I've seen videos on TikTok where men make a transformation that will blow your mind, that you think you're dating a woman, you know, and so secrets, all those secrets out there, you know. Anyway, so we just wanted to cover a couple of them. I am going to post one. As I end this segment and we switch hats a little bit. Let me tell you guys what I'm about to post to later tonight on the TFG His and Hers Relationships Topics page. This is a question. I'm going to pose it, and I want to see what's going to be said. The question is for women. Ladies, would you date a man with a homosexual past?
No, do you want me to answer?
You can have the privilege of going first because I'm not going to end, but I'm going to post this later tonight. So, ladies, would you date a man with a homosexual past? Tasha, you have the privilege of going first.
Absolutely not. No, it's one thing, when you think about it, it's not, and people will say that you can chalk it up to, being, having some sort of phobia or whatever, but it's not. With men already, you have to worry about them losing your man to another woman. But now I got to think about you looking at other men. Look, that's just too much. That I don't want to go down there. I don't want to go down that road. I don't know if it's something that you have completely resolved. Is it something that you're still open to do? It's just too much. To me, it's too complicated. It's too much baggage. It's not something that I want to be a part of. It's not something that I find sexy at all. It's an immediate turnoff to me that you have been with another man. So it's already, again, I already have to think about that you have already been touched by other women, but now you've been touched by other men. No, thank you.
Very interesting. Jenny said it's a big no for me. I only want to raise this for anybody listening. I think there's some real hypocrisy here in the sense, not from you, I mean, just in general with this question, because it's amazing how women view homosexuality as applies to a man, but not as applies to women. That's the only thing I want to throw out there is the fact that so many women are quick to say, oh, hell no. Another man touching him and he taking dick and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But they're okay watching, what's the two chicks doing the wet ass pussy? Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion bumping and grinding. It's amazing how many women found that okay. It was sexy. It was nothing wrong with it. And we are way past that stage of women being okay with women kicking it with each other. My girl got a girl too. It's in songs. It's sexy. It's attractive. And so it's amazing how men, we are able to accept women with their roles of bisexuality or bi curiosity or whatever you want to call it, But when it comes to the idea that a man is with a man, that is a big one.
So could you also argue is because men, maybe y'all should raise your standards and not find it so sexy? Or maybe it's because you find the female form so sexy.
You raised all of those great possibilities, and that's why I'm going to be posting that question, because that is more intricate than we imagine, and it should make us men look at ourselves. I love what you're just saying, but the question is going to be posed to women. I'm just throwing it out there that there is a level of hypocrisy at stake here now, because when women hear about a man being with another man, the images all of a sudden becomes an automatic taboo. But a lot of women can lay down and have their musty snatch dug out and they carpet munchers themselves, and that's okay. Your breath's got all kind of curly hairs in between your teeth, and you think that's okay. I'm just asking, and I'm just saying. I'm posting that later. All right, we're going to change hats for a second, and we're going to pop out. And don't go anywhere, audience. Stay with me. You don't have to go anywhere, but I'm just going to change hats really quickly, okay? So bear with me 1 second. We're going to change hats a little bit, and we're going to go into our Real Talk for Real Men segment. ha ha. Thanks for sticking around. If you have, we are now switching hats a little bit and we're rolling over to Real Talk for Real Men. We do this show every Wednesday, every Sunday live. We just so happen to be doing a combination show today. And the combination show took place today simply because I have been celebrating my birthday, folks. My birthday was Wednesday, January the 5th. And yes, I'm still doing my thing. So I've drank a little too much, ate a little too much. And so that's why I did a combination show today. But I definitely want to bring the content to you guys. Real Talk for Real Men on the TFG TV network and platform of shows. You can find me on TFG TV. You can also find me at YouTube. I'm just one of the fantastic shows on TFG TV. We got political shows, religious shows, relationship shows, Real Talk for Men, Real Talk for Women, you name it, we got it. So if you haven't subscribed to our platform, please find us at TFG TV and you won't be disappointed. Absolutely not. So welcome. Let me bring in my co-host. What's going on, Mick Mac?
What's going on, Black?
All right. So welcome. So again, we're going to be talking about we're going to change hats a little bit here. Real Talk for Real Men on our topic. And in honor of us only being 9 days into the new year, most people are already probably into their New Year's resolutions or what they want to change about themselves, what they want to do different, all of those things. And so we're going to give one last homage to the year we left behind. One last homage. And we're going to talk about 5 quick things relationship-wise that we want to leave behind us. Remember, we talked about clearing out the baggage, the purge. So we want to talk about 5 things that we want to leave behind in 2021. Now, I have not seen this list. I asked my co-host, Tasha, to come up with 5 things that she thinks we as a people, as humanity, men and women, should leave behind in 2021. Tasha, what you got for us first?
So the first one, and it really resonates with me, is saying yes when you really want to say no. So feeling overly guilty and committing to something that you really don't want to do in the effort just to please someone, whether it be, your significant other, friends or whatever. I know I'm guilty of this. I will say sometimes, or I'll agree to do something when it pushes me far outside of my comfort zone than I want to do, or it just to make someone else happy. So, and I think that that's something that we should, that people, let's just leave that behind. Just say what you want, say what you feel, and be honest about it.
I'm going to tell you why I really like that. And again, I have not seen any of your topics ahead of time. As a psychiatrist of sorts, when I talk with friends and relatives who have relationship issues, you know what? This one really comes up a lot, believe it or not, because it's amazing how people get themselves into situations where if they just said, no, I don't agree with that, I don't want to do that, and that's not okay, then they would not find themselves in some of the predicaments that they find themselves in. And so I actually really like this one, because how about in 2022, we make an effort to be our most authentic selves? How about we make an effort in 2022 that to say it's okay to say no? And that's what I think I like about this, because we have conditioned ourselves so long to say yes to everything. We're afraid to say no of how people are going to see us, or they're going to disappoint people, when in reality we might be disappointing ourselves, and no is okay. If you don't want to go somewhere, somebody invites you someplace and you really don't want to go, just no, thank you, but no. Hey, do you want to do this? It's okay to say no. I really like this one, because I think I've had to talk too many people off of a ledge because of this right here where they continue to say yes when they could have easily just said no, you know?
I think about it also like with people, if your relationship, whatever the outcome of your relationship is going to change based on you telling someone no, that you don't want to do something, I think that that should really make you open your eyes, like, wow, like why would that change how you feel about me just by me saying no, I don't want to do something, or I can't do something, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I agree with that one. Okay. And we're going to move along quickly. You know, it's just you and I tonight, Big Mac. So what's the next one you got for us?
Poor hygiene. I knew that you would like this one. Let us leave poor hygiene in 2021. It doesn't matter, you know, like whatever it is that you were doing as far as your profession or anything, your age as an adult, it does not matter. And I would even let's take it back a little bit further. Once you reach that age of accountability, you know, and for different people it means different ages. With the pandemic and the different things that we have lived through, it's no excuses anymore to have poor hygiene. Wash your hands, wash your ass, wash your good parts, wash everything, brush your teeth. That is, just do the even the bare minimum. We've got to get away from having poor hygiene.
Well, you know, you knocked this one out the park for me on so many levels. Before I even get to just the relationship level, you know, I got this troll on here. Then let me block all of these nonsense foolishness. You know, whoever you are, dumbass, stop posting that shit on this page. But anyway, okay, back to the poor hygiene part. If you gonna watch this show, contribute. You know, sitting in your mama's basement with peanut butter all over your dumb ass, with rats nipping at your heels, pulling this shit. Do something. You're the reason for this subject right here. Whoever you are that keep posting this shit, love face XYZ. Take your monkey ass and then take a bath, you dirty bastard. You're the reason we having this subject right here. Go wash your stinking ass. Okay. Having said that, back to myself. So before I even get to that, we are still in the midst of a pandemic. And I firmly believe that the original pandemic, a lot of it could have been avoided had we had better hygiene just in general as people. I talked about this many times before. If you've never gone into a woman's bath, before we had the pandemic, you go into a woman's bathroom, absolutely disgusting. And then not even just women. How many people use the bathroom, pissing and shitting, and don't even wash their hands, you know, and just come and interact with each other. Now, getting to the relationship part, you're right about leaving poor hygiene. There is absolutely no excuse for it. We have Dollar Tree stores all over the place. What up, Big Mike? How you doing, baby boy? Good to see you, my man. So we got dollar stores. I don't care what city you live in. Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, Dollar General. They got all kinds of stores where it doesn't cost you a lot to get soap, toothpaste, mouthwash, even bath rags. It's no excuse. And so jumping your stinking ass, running it underwater, not rubbing your armpits and your good spots, and going out and huffing up in other people's face, knowing you ain't washed, it's an absolute no-no. You know, and the idea that you still have people out here going all day playing video games in a room full of dudes and women twisting and shouting and doing TikTok dances and all that kind of shit. And then you won't even take the time to wash your musty trap, to wash your stinking balls. There is no reason whatsoever to take poor hygiene into the new year. You know, Mike said, tell him, Fred, get a supply of I think you meant lime or loom. Absolutely. There is no excuse whatsoever to take poor hygiene into the new year. Absolutely none. You know, and I'm holding us all accountable. Wash behind your ears. Some of y'all behind your ears smell like your ass. You know, the back of your knees, you know, shouldn't smell like your armpits, you know. And for you people who think getting in the shower and not wanting to bend down and relying on, you know, gravity, the water to run down, bend your stinking ass over, and take a rag and get up in between them crevices. Even if you fat like me, it's no excuse for the crack of your ass to be stinking. It's absolutely no excuse at all. Top celebrity pads, it's just lazy. That's just lazy.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael was educating me. Mike said Loom, it's organic and it can hold you down. So, Mike, I've never heard of Loom. I don't know what that is, but I will say this, my brother. I hope you don't mean it can hold you down for 3 days without bathing. So even if you use Loom, I'm an advocate of taking a daily shower, daily bath. That is incredibly important to me, and I hope we can leave this trend behind in 2021. People, wash your ass. All right. Tasha, take us to the next one.
Everything is not a red flag. Okay. This is a big one because I know, like, over the last few years, we've been hearing a lot about different people's, excuses or what they consider red flags in relationships. Just because it's something that you don't like, such as, okay, if someone goes to the bathroom and wants to take their phone with them, I've seen that some women have, take exception to that. Back in the day, men used to take the newspaper or the magazine in there. Your phone is now just an extension of that. Just because someone is doing something, it's not always a red flag. So we have got to get away from overutilizing, like certain phrases, and really, because it takes away from, like the importance of it, and its true meaning. So, really consider, really evaluate, is it really a red flag? So.
Okay, good example too. Good example. Mike, again, Lume. I'm gonna look that up because I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna see if it's something that I could definitely use for sure. Definitely. Celebrity Pass said, "What do you think about women that don't want to sit their ass in a tub, and on a shower?" Well, I'm a shower person. Top celebrity. I think sitting in a pool of your own filth is nasty. A bath is good for relaxation. If your back is hurting, put you some salts in there to relax. But a good old fashioned scrub in the shower is what does it to me. That's where you have to be mobile and moving. I think it's a little bit lazy to just sit there and let the dirt swim around your dirty, funky ass and get up and think you're gonna be clean. That's just me. But anyway, but to this one, Tasha says about thinking everything is a red flag. I get where you're going with this, and you're right. But to me, then, Tasha, this one stems from being so involved in what other people do that you forget about yourself. And when I say that, I'm talking about how many times do we see in relationships where we hear people say, "Ain't no way he could be with you because he with me all the time. He called me every day. She, I want to just put on women. How many of you men are requiring women to FaceTime you all through the day and this and that?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're reading into every little thing that somebody does. And so I talk about this all the time. I think even in the most healthiest relationships, there still has to be room for independence, and individuality in order for it to grow. You still need to let that person grow outside of you, and you can't live inside somebody else's head. This is the one place you can't rent space in. And so I know who I am. I don't want to live inside your head. So I've always been a kind of person. I don't think every little thing somebody does is, oh my God, she means this. You know what? If you want to know what somebody's really thinking and what they mean, there's a simple way to try to figure out what the person is really trying to say or what did they mean. Tasha, what's the simplest way?
Just fucking ask them.
Ask them.
Ask them.
Isn't that a novel idea? How about talking to each other?
Exactly.
Isn't that a simple, cool way to find out what you want to know? Mike, you're right. Good old fashioned Clorox in the bath is another one that you already know from kids, but Mike, they don't know nothing about that. But yes, put your phone down and how about talk to each other? How about if you think there is an issue, how about asking the person, "Hey, what did you mean when you said that?" And you know what I'm saying? It's a simple way, Yo, Mike, you already know Capricorn to the heart, my brother. You know what I'm saying? And that's a Mike. I do not love them hoes. You already know. This is true. But I am upfront and honest with my hoes so that they know where they stand with me. You don't ever have to guess where you stand with me. You really don't. And if you and top celebrity pass said, if you think they won't be honest, why are you with them? Bravo, bravo. Because
Or I'm sorry, Black. Go ahead.
no, go.
I was just going to say, and another red flag that continues to come up is, if someone is not at a certain level by a specific age, please stop thinking that it's supposed to be the same for everybody. Everybody hits their, like certain goals, reaches certain goals at different points in life. So just because someone is, like you feel like they, I don't know, aren't where they are, don't have like a career or don't, or never been married by certain ages, that is not a red flag. And we've got to stop acting like it's supposed to be the norm for everybody.
Absolutely. Very, very well said. If you're in a relationship with somebody, give it time to grow, give each other time to become, what you need it to be. You know what I'm saying? Mike, you're gonna get me in trouble. Mike, you really gonna get me in trouble here, brother. My God, you put it out there. I'm trying to be better in 2022, Mike. I really, really am, But TFG Ratchet says facts to what you just said, Tasha. Give us another one. Mike, don't get me in trouble, man. What's another one, Tasha, you got for us?
Hanging on to people past their expiration date. When they want to go, it shouldn't be some big production. It doesn't have to be. When someone no longer wishes you well, or they have a purpose in your life or anything, or bring you peace or anything, stop hanging on to them. Everything is not meant to last forever. Some things are only meant to last for a little while, but you've got to, and us, everyone, we've got to get to a place to where we recognize that. It's not healthy to hold on to these things, because by you trying to hold on to someone so tightly, you could be missing out on something else that is supposed to be for you.
I love this one, Tasha. I absolutely love this one with a passion. Mike, to add to the last one, said if a woman ain't married by 42, they got social issues. Mike, we probably need to do a show on that because people are waiting a lot longer. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And I agree. You don't want to marry other guys' rejections, but there's some reasons why people might want to wait, as well. Now hanging on to people past the expiration date, friendships as well as relationships have expiration dates. And a lot of times we don't want to admit that, and a lot of times it's not because you fell out with each other or something went horribly wrong. Maybe where you're at in life and the path you're on and the journey you're on is going someplace where that person is not going, or they don't deserve to be, or they don't want to be. And so, to your point, Tasha, trying to keep somebody past the expiration date, sometimes we need to take a really good old-fashioned stock of our relationships and ask a simple question. Are we moving in the same direction?
Yeah.
Because in a relationship, I don't care who you are and what you have, if you're going left and they're going right, you are never going to meet in the same place. And sometimes you need to be honest. Again, this comes from having a real conversation, but my thing is, take stock of the relationship. What was the original goal when you got together? What was the plan? Was your individual path different than that person's? And when did you start going in different directions? And so there has to come a point where you need to be honest enough and say, you know what? Has this relationship outlived this usefulness? And I'm going to be honest with you. Mike said a minute ago, I don't love these hoes. I've said this a million times. There's some people I go into it knowing that this is going to be a short-lived thing. This is a roller coaster ride. And I'm going to ride this up, and I'm going to ride it a few laps, and I know it's going to come to a stop, and I'm going to get off. And believe it or not, I told that person that. Now they may still think that we can continue to ride. So I love this part where don't ride it past the expiration date. Be honest and look yourself in the mirror. Some of us right now in relationships that we might need to let go. Mike
Mhm.
says they thought they were the shit when they were young. They get old and find out the other side is filled with concrete and no grass. Absolutely. Absolutely. TFG Ratchet says sometimes when you get older, you realize some of those friends and trash have always been trash.
Mm.
Very true. And I think sometimes on that one is because when we're young, there's a higher level of tolerance because we
Mm.
have time. You know, you know what I'm saying, Tasha? What do you say to that?
No, absolutely. When you're younger and you look past certain things, like it's not that big of a deal, or you may even secretly be hoping, well, maybe it's just because we're young. We do try, we'll chalk a lot of things up to youthful indiscretion, but really, it's like if a person's just a shitty person, it's just a shitty person. They're always going to be that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And before you get to your last one, Tasha, I'll share this. And I shared this on a platform I was on just yesterday, where we were holding a conversation and it got to be on religious subjects. And we couldn't agree on the most fundamental parts of things. And I made a comment about my age. And I'm going to go back to my age again. I just had a birthday a few days ago. When I was younger, 20 years ago, and talk about relationships, there wasn't as much of an urgency when it came to time. Number one, I was way more confrontational in some ways, well, in a lot of ways. But I to your point, TFG Ratchet, I think back then, I might have been more tolerant because number one, I had way more options and it wasn't as important. But as I've aged now, time the most valuable thing I own right now is time. That is the most valuable thing I own is time. I work for a living, and me and Tasha talk about all the time that the moment Friday comes, that clock is ticking on my personal time. So in any relationship that I'm in, I just don't have the time to waste anymore on relationships, friendships, and whatever it might be that is not moving in the right direction. And it's not about the person anymore. It's about me that I have such limited time to bring people into my private space that don't need to be there. So I truly recognize when it's time to let some things go. And I'm gonna read a few more comments, and Tasha wants you to give you a final one. So Mike says, women ignore the signs and they stay hypnotized by the good dick and the material things. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we see it, Mike, even with the rich and famous, that, as long as you're giving and doing and dicking them down, they will hang around, even though they know it's going to end eventually. Men age like wine, women age like bread. Mike, you're going to get a lot of people cursing your ass out on there. I'm going to tell you that right now by your commentary, because they're not going to agree with that one. They got to pay attention to they Wonder Bread. Wonder Bread does spoil a lot quicker. Stop lying. You got your shit. No, Mike, I do think I got my shit together. I do think that, but I'm just saying, and that's what I'm saying, Mike, is that I'm at a stage in my life, you're right, that I know exactly what I'm looking for. I've hit this stage in my life where I don't have time to be in there with somebody and it's not going to benefit me. And so, yes, Mike, that 24-hour shot clock is already ticking. And when I see that it's going left, I let it go. Great points, man. I love your energy. Keep it coming, Mike. I like that. Tasha, what's the last thing we need to leave behind as we head into 2022?
There are two of them that I'm kind of torn on, but I'm going to go with this one. Forcing connections as a way to avoid being alone and wanting reciprocity.
Ooh, okay. You went real deep with that one. Talk about that one while I phrase it right.
Well, I think for me, I think it's really appropriate with, the pandemic and everything. And a lot of people are choosing, as you stated earlier, to stay single, waiting to do marriage, longer. But people are not, they're not choosing to be alone and getting to know themselves. They're
So
not
so so so
investing.
so so say it again as you talk about this.
Okay, so forcing connections as a way to avoid being alone and wanting reciprocity.
Okay. And so keep going.
And so, like with that, taking that time, learning what learning what you want, what you like. Some people are so quick to accept the bare minimum just to avoid being alone. They'll be with someone just because, okay, well, I don't want to be alone for this holiday. I don't want to be alone for this much time. And then they get mad when someone isn't reciprocating, isn't giving back to them what they're pouring into them. It's unrealistic, it doesn't make any sense, and it only is going to cause further trauma for yourself. It's going to hurt you in the long run.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I like this one, and I'm just scrolling through some of the comments by Michael, where he says better to have a cat farm for women. They need to get to know themselves. Mike, we may have to have you on live on the show, because somebody that got this much to say, I want to put you in a position where I want women to be able to have you defend what you say, even though I agree with a lot of what you say, the numbers ain't on their side, and then he's agreeing with you, Tosh. He say facts. You was talking facts, So Mike, when we do our Wednesday shows, I might have to have you on, my brother, live, because I want you to be able to defend your views. And again, this is a platform where we welcome that. And again, it's never going to get violent. We don't do that here. So Lamar says, to your comments, Tasha, absolutely. I agree. So I like this one too, because you are so right. And this is another one where too many times I have to play psychiatrist to friends, of mine, to where rather than be alone, they will, what's the word I'm looking for? They will conjure up reasons why this relationship they're in is going to work. They will manufacture reasons. And I love the part you added at the end. That's why I want you to say it twice to make sure I get that in, because not only are they forcing this person to stay together just because they don't want to be by themselves, but again, it's the forced reciprocity, because now you have a heightened level of expectation that this person is supposed to make you whole. Yep. Even though you're forcing the situation in the first place. And so I like this one in terms of leave it behind. This is another one. How about, folks, in 2022, we learn to really get in tune better with who we are, and learn to live with ourselves. Because if we did that, I think then we're going to be a better person for whoever we're with anyway, if we are okay with being by ourselves. You know what the pandemic did? It forced a lot of people to realize how much they hated their own selves, their own company.
Right.
Now I've been living alone for quite a while. You know what I'm saying? And so my thing is, because I'm comfortable living by myself, I don't have to force somebody to be with me. In fact, it serves as a protection for me to be able to know that I don't want this in my life. I don't want this in my home, because I know exactly what I'm going to bring into my environment. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely, Mike says they're going to have to choose a man that's on a lower level or on a level they on. Well, that's a whole nother conversation, Mike.
I wanted to speak to this comment, because that's not really like what we're talking about. Forcing connections as a way to avoid being alone is not necessarily choosing someone that may not be on your level. It's just settling for someone who is there at that time. And so it's Absolutely. Not really, like that the comment is kind of like on a totally different subject. Like, it can apply, but specifically, this is going towards friendships as well. And I think often people do conflate being alone with being lonely, which are two totally different things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad that you made that point. And so there is definitely a distinction there in terms of what you're talking about, that what you're saying is, as we're heading into a new year, stop trying to force people to stay with you, just because you have a fear of being alone, and then trying to force them to reciprocate all the energy that you've expelled on them, because now you think they owe that to you. Right. Am I saying that right?
Absolutely.
All right. So I told Tasha I was going to do a little twist. We got about 15 minutes. We're going to go through this real quickly, but it's only fair that if we're going to talk about some things that we need to leave behind, I picked out 5 quick things that I would like for us as a group, as a viewership, to pick up in 2022. You know, and Mike says women need to play the relationship game like a person who plans for retirement. Very good thought. Very good thought. I like that. Mike, I can't get into that tonight, though. So I want to have a few things that we should take with us into the new year. And these are things that I think we should take with us into the new year. Okay.
Okay.
So let me create the first one. And we're going to do these very quick. How about, I'm trying to take mics down. How about going out on a whim? What do you think I mean by that? Anybody, when I say going out on a whim?
What, taking a chance, is that what you're referring to?
Absolutely. Why is that comment not coming down?
I don't know.
Okay, so we're going to ignore that one. Anyway, because I can't get that comment. I can't get that banner to come down now. So I don't know why. But anyway, the one that we're going to focus on is these are things that we want to actually take with us into 2022. Going out on a whim, you know, and this is talking about, you know, going back to some of the old-fashioned ways of meeting people. Mm-hmm. How about we reinstitute that? We so caught up now in technology, you know, and meeting people on apps and things like that. This is speaking for me personally. How about getting out and actually saying hello to people, meeting them out where they are? The good old-fashioned way. So when I say going out on a whim, when's the last time you asked somebody for their number? You actually approached a woman in a grocery store, an office building. At the beginning of the year, remember we talked about where can we go to meet women? And we never came up with an answer. We actually never, ever came up with an answer. And so maybe the answer is reinstituting good old-fashioned going out on a whim and taking a chance and meeting people where they're at. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. No, I completely agree. Then, like you said, the old fashioned of asking someone for their number, I think that has gone by the wayside because a lot of times they, will say, you can have my IG, you can have my Snap. No, I'm an adult. I would like your number. I'd like to talk to you. I don't want to go on your social media because to me, that's not who you really are. That's just a snippet of who you want people to think you are, but that's not truly who you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, I told you we'd go through these fairly quickly. And so I'm going to go to number 2. And this is kind of going hand in hand, but I'd love to see this come back into style. How about holding open doors?
Good old-fashioned chivalry.
Good old-fashioned chivalry, because for the last couple of years, I've even asked the question, whatever happened to chivalry? And it's certainly dead. And I've even made an argument that women killed it. But you know what? Men, maybe it's on us to reinstitute it. Okay. All right. Producer, bless you. God bless you for taking his comments down. So holding open doors. And so I have been so afraid to get back out there because you just don't know if women are going to appreciate it. And you got ones out there who certainly will be unappreciative. But you know what? I started thinking to myself, I'm going to put myself back out there as a man. And because that's the only way I know how to be. And I'm going to go back to opening doors. And maybe, just maybe, I'll find that person that does appreciate it and good old-fashioned chivalry, as you said, Tasha. Good old fashioned chivalry.
I like that. The holding open the doors. I do like that. And like for women, just because someone I just want to say this, just as like a little exclaimer here, disclaimer here. Just because someone's holding open the door does not mean necessarily that they are trying to talk to you. It could just just be a nice just a nice gesture, and it's okay to say thank you. Not it's not some some weird creep that is trying to get at you, and just a simple thank you or smile or something is sufficient.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which brings me to number 3. Again, I'm sticking with tradition. In case you see in this list, you notice I'm going back now. And so we're leaving some things behind. What do you think about this one, Tasha? Going back to talking on the phone.
I prefer to talk on the phone. You can only convey so much through messages. And like I was saying earlier, I don't want to go through your social media. I don't want that to be the only way that I can contact you. Because for me, if that's the only way, I can only talk to you like through Messenger or something. Why? Well, like, do you not have a regular number? Is your phone not on? Like, what's going on? Let's talk on the phone. Let me hear your voice. I think like what's the term that you used to use? Phone boning. That's a like, let's
Absolutely.
get back to that.
Absolutely. Antoine said that's a good one. And so let me tell you guys a quick story. This happened like 3 weeks ago. My sister set me up on a blind date with a young lady from New York. She was coming to visit her daughter here in Atlanta. And the lady came and, well, let me back up. She was supposed to come and we were supposed to meet that Saturday. Well, we talked on the phone, my sister, with literal actual conversation. And we had made a plan where she was coming in that weekend and we was going to get together that weekend. Well, that Saturday came, no word, no nothing. Sunday evening, I got a text message from the lady basically saying that, she got in late. It was some bogus bullshit that she got in late and they were doing shopping, blah, blah, blah. But she'll be here till next weekend. So I said, okay, so you're going to be here another week? Mind you, this is text conversation. No, I'm wrong. I called. I called. Oh, so you're going to be here for another week? Well, yeah, but we're going to be shopping. Okay, so did you still want to get together? Yeah, I'll let you know, but we're going to be shopping all week. No, no, mind. I'm thinking, well, I can shop all week, but okay. The another weekend came by, didn't hear from her. Now, I told my sister that your first impression is everything. The fact that she had stood me up the very first time and even communicated via text messaging, even though this is a woman that's in her mid 40s, my plan was I was going to stand her up, to be perfectly honest with you. I actually told my sister, well, I hope she doesn't reach out to me, because if she does, I'm going to tell her to meet me someplace and I'm going to stand this funky bitch up, because, she showed herself not to be worthy. Because when you start out here with me and you really deserve here, and that's what I was going to do. Well, long story short, didn't hear from her that Saturday, think nothing of it. And on her way out, she texted me basically saying, sorry, we missed each other. We'll get together next time. So I don't know if the lady watched this show or not. If you do, fuck you. I would never even want to meet you anyway, because at your age, you wouldn't even be worth it at this stage because your maturity level or whatever, because a good old fashioned phone call would have said everything. And so we live in a dating, trending, ever present matrix right now where people don't have a good old fashioned conversation, even when they're in each other's presence. They're looking down at their phone, they're texting each other, they got all these emojis. Whatever happened to just speaking? So for me, I would like to see if men, women, for my platform, Real Talk for Real Men, let's get back to a place where we actually have a conversation. Call one another. And if you are dating each other, Tasha, what did you call it? Phone boning?
Phone boning. And it's not always sexual. It's just having those conversations that, like you constantly learning about somebody. You get to hear their voice. You get to hear how they respond to certain things. You pick up on those cues. So
absolutely. So I think that is something we should all go back to. Good old fashioned conversations where you feel attracted to the person, you articulate that, via words, not emojis, not hypertext conversations, but a good old fashioned, hey, I'm feeling you. You know, I like what you said. Tell me about yourself. Good old fashioned phone conversations. And you know what? You'll be surprised if you just go back to that. You'll save yourself a lot of time with people that you shouldn't be with anyway. And then you will make a true and earnest connection with somebody that you find that I really do have something in common with this person. Try it, folks. Try it. Number 4, interacting with each other on dates. And I kind of alluded to that already. Interacting with each other on dates. So if you are lucky enough to actually be on a date with somebody, Tasha, what should we be? Tell us about what a man should be doing on an actual date with a woman if they're interacting with you. What should we be doing?
Put down your phone. That's the first thing. Put down your phone. Also, like some people may not like it, but I like, if I'm on a date with someone, maybe not always sitting across from each other, sitting next to each other. Those, flirtatious touching, just a simple brush of the shoulder or your arm around their waist, and again, listening, not necessarily like constantly like looking around or being involved in something else. If you're at a sports bar, not so tuned in on the TV, but like giving your undivided attention to someone. Create the intimacy, like outside of the bedroom, outside of your home, create that intimacy.
Thank you. And I asked that because I wanted you as a woman to tell guys what a date really used to be like. That's what it used to be like. Not Netflix and chill, come over. And I'm guilty of that as well. But I'd like for us to go back to a good old fashioned date where you really interact. And as a man, what that means for me is, again, I like what you talked about sitting next to somebody, and I'm not saying you can't sit across from somebody too, but sitting close enough in close proximity where you can actually hear the conversation. Where you can actually hold a real conversation with each other, where you can look in that woman's eyes, reach across the table if you're on a date, at least touch your hand. I think about the movie Ray, for example. This is a blind man, and to make a connection, he touched their hands and wrists because there has to be some level of physical contact. And we're not talking sex here. So like Tasha said, an arm around the person's shoulder. What about the good old days when you're watching a movie and you got your arm around the person? And I don't care if that's a movie at home or a movie out somewhere. But again, put the phones down, take yourself, out of for that, just that while. Be present. And we hear that a lot of times. Be fully present, listening to what is happening and being discussed, because that's what makes a true connection. And if we could get back to that. And I told people this a couple of years ago. I have not been on a date in years. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to get myself back to a place where I ask somebody on an actual date. I'm going to see how it goes. Of course, I will keep you guys posted. All right. That leaves us to number 5. So this is going to be our final one. Let me post this junk. And this one, again, in keeping with the old fashioned, this one is going to throw people a little bit. What do you think about handwritten letters, Tasha?
Well, it's been a while since I've gotten one of those. You think about like the greeting cards that you may get on those holidays, but like typically men don't put like a whole lot into those, but those Dear John letters type of deals, like I would like to get one of those.
I'm glad to hear you say that you'd like to get one of those. I didn't know how this one would go over. And that's because, what's weird is they've taken learning cursive out of school. So we have a whole generation out here that can't even write in cursive. That's number one. And then we have a whole generation that they speak the same way that they text. And that, again, hyper shortened language. But I'm glad to hear you say you'd like to get a hand. So look, fellas, I'm not advocating that you sit down and become Langston Hughes. Not everybody has that capability. to sit down and put together words. So it can be something short. But how about giving that woman something physical that she can look back on that will remind her of what was happening in that moment at that time?
I really like that. I think about, just a simple note of slipping it under someone's windshield on their car, like when you come across their car like in the parking lot or something, or like maybe on a at their house, do that, not, I mean, that does sound kind of stalkerish, but you know what I mean, like in a good way. But also, I think it's a nice alternative for some people who aren't able to articulate what they want to say, verbally, but putting it like in a nice, handwritten note. That I think it'd be nice.
And that's all I'm saying, fellas. And let me go back to the dollar store. Do you know at Family Dollar, at Dollar General, and Dollar Tree, wherever you live, they have card sections, believe it or not. So even if you found a card and opened it up and wrote a small, instead of texting, if you wrote a small message, hey, I was just thinking about you on my way to work, hey, how, something really quick, it may go a hell of a lot longer way than a texting, something personal, that a keepsake. You'd be surprised at what that can do for chivalry, and maybe could revive it. Antoine says notes are really good speaking from the heart and mind. Absolutely, my brother. And again, I understand not everybody can articulate, that way. You don't have to be a rapper. So when I say you have to be a wordsmith, it doesn't have to rhyme. It doesn't even have to be all that long, but a really short, true message. I was just thinking about you. Hey, if that person came over to eat dinner with you, I really enjoyed your company. Hope we can do this again. That is something that she can look at and, oh my God, he meant that. Oh, and in case anybody's thinking that I'm only asking men to do this, I'm talking to women as well. I'm talking to women as well. We've gotten away from true communication with each other. So you know what would be nice? Instead of sending me a picture of what's that purple thing saying you want to suck some dick, with a tongue hanging out, instead of texting me the emoji with the tongue is hanging out and the big purple squatch or whatever it's called.
It's an eggplant.
Eggplant, okay. Go figure. You know what will really be sexy? What will really be sexy? How about, again, slipping me a nice little note, in my car door or at my door or whatever, or you hey, meet me at somewhere and hand me a nice little note and something a little sexy. You know what I'm saying? And tell me, do you know that will heighten everything inside of me? You will get my best work with a simple note. That's something that you hand to me and drive away, walk away. If that note's saying, I want you to tear this thing up. Again,
from all of the ones that you've said that you wanted to, all of the examples of what you wanted to bring back, it sounds like to me, essentially, I take away you want to bring back romance.
I really thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so that is my list. And thank you for summarizing that. And that's because I have been abstinent for a while and I want to get back out there in the market. I'm getting back out there, not want to, I'm getting back out there in the market. McMack and I, we were talking just this weekend about a situation and circumstances and what's funny and how different it is for men and women when we both abstain, how we react, and I'm not going to go into that. But I'm saying at the same time, we want romance back in our lives, but we're not going to settle for just anything. And right. So in 2022, the same way I measure my success when I look at how I began my year and did I accomplish these goals and am I better off? At the end of this year, God willing, I would like to be able to say to my audience, guess what, folks? I'm seeing somebody. I'm dating somebody. and it's romantic. And thank you for summarizing that, Tasha. I want to be in a romantic situation. I want to miss somebody. I want to have a phone conversation with a woman that gets me excited. I'm looking forward to talking with her. I would love to receive little notes in the mail. Instead of getting junk mail, it'd be beautiful to get a note, from a woman, even if it's just something short. You know what I'm saying? And then when we are together, I don't want to be on my phone. I want to go on a real date, where we're holding hands and interacting and the phones are down and I get to touch the person. I want to know what that feels like again when the hair stands up on my arms because I enjoy being with that person. Now to do all of that, you got to be clean too, baby. So you got to smell good. The hygiene got to be on point. My hygiene is on point, but I need you to smell feminine so that I want to bury my nose in the nape of your neck. And I want to smell behind your ears. And when I touch your hair, it's soft and it's clean. I want all of those things. So yes, Tasha, I want romance back in my life. I really and truly do. All right, so that's our show for today. We try not to go into anything too heavy and deep on Sundays, so I tried to keep it light. I appreciate the viewers tuning in, and I definitely appreciate the interaction and the commentary from the viewers, so I appreciate that. Great commentary. I look forward to having you on a regular basis every Wednesday, every Sunday. We do this, so we did a little hybrid show today. I'll be back to normal this week, but as I said, I'm still in the mode of celebrating my birthday. I'll share with you guys today. I cooked for myself. I got a tough week ahead of a couple of late nights, but I cooked homemade chili in a crock pot. I made steak as well as broccoli, and I made me a nice salad. So I've got my meals prepped out. I'm working on being a better me for 2022 to try to eat better. I need to incorporate some exercise because if I am going to get back out there in the dating pool, I want to give somebody the best version of me. And so even though I think I have a lot of shit together, I've got a lot of shit I need to get together as well. So I want to present to that woman the best versions of a healthy Lee Black. So I'm still working on me, always working on me. Tasha, what do you got to add?
No, I completely agree. I want to be a better version of myself, as we go year to year. And then also because I don't want to just settle for someone, I don't want, them to settle for me either. So I completely agree. I would like to, have a little bit of romance. I'm not going to say that I'm ready just to be fully out there, but maybe just a little taste of romance. So.
That's starting with somewhere. Well, Antoine, thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel on YouTube. It's called Real Talk for Real Men. And you can find me every Wednesday, every Sunday, as well as on TFG TV. And they have a whole host of shows on that platform, Antoine, that if you haven't already, tell family, tell friends, like and subscribe. I promise you the content that we're bringing to viewers is unlike any of the other platforms. We, Tasha and myself, we are not just talking heads. We come with conversation with a purpose. We welcome input and we talk about things in a very real way because we don't live in a matrix. We're going to give it to you real. We're going to give it to you raw, and we're going to respect your opinions as well. And so I want everybody to have a great, great week. I will be popping in on Wednesday with another fantastic show. Thank you, Antoine, for saying it's real talk. That's what we endear to, and we strive to be that on every time we come out. So until next time, everybody have a great, great week. We'll see you on Wednesday. God bless and have a good week.